back to my story. Um, there was a time where, I mean, there was a lot of times where trading was really hard for me, and I struggled a lot. And it got really frustrating because I got to the point, support resistance flip, uh, got to the point where my my technical analysis was on point. I could find levels. You could look at it after, the market's closed, and I'm like, God, my levels hit. How am I messing up the trades? And it was a combination of a few things. The main one, which we've already talked about a lot, is your like your mentality, your psychological perspective, where we get into that fear of losing. Um, and I'm going to talk about it again for just a minute here. Losing is really, really difficult for people. Like it's and then trading is doubly difficult, and that'll make sense in a second. Like our egos, and everybody, even if people say they're not egotistical, every single one of us has an ego. And when we're wrong to a degree, it's going to get hurt. And it's hard being wrong when you're like getting into a trade or whatever and it goes the wrong way. Or even worse, like you get into the trade, it goes the wrong way, you stop out, and then it rockets in the direction you were expecting it to go. And you're like, why? Like, I was right, but I was wrong. But anyway, um, the what makes it doubly hard with trading is not only is our ego getting crushed, we're also losing money at the same time. And so not only is our ego getting screwed, we're losing money, and so like it's a double negative, but it doesn't make a positive. And like it makes that psychological component really, really difficult to overcome. So that's probably the most difficult part to overcome in trading is learning to let your winners run and not cut them early, and learning to cut your losers at your stop loss early. And like I've been preaching this whole time Shorty's been gone, always make sure you're using at least two risk for I'm sorry, two reward for every one risk. So every dollar you're risking, you have to make two. Um, and as long as you do that consistently, yeah, you cannot feed. Somebody just said in the Discord, you can't feed your ego and your family at the same time, and that's very true. Um, but so as long as you're doing, one risk for two reward consistently, like you can't lose. But it's so hard, and I know this. Like I'm speaking, you know, for myself when I say this. I'm not, just making stuff up. Like it's so hard to honor that two reward when you're up, like whatever, when you're up in a trade and you're like, God, I just want to cut it here because I'm so worried it's going to reverse on me and go red. You just got to gut it out. And if you don't, like, you're going to start having, you're just going to blow your account eventually. Um, if you let your losers run and you cut your winners short. So, kind of important. Hang on one second. My chart is doing some